What if the key to transforming not just your life, but the entire world lies in a profound shift in your consciousness? In A New Earth, Eckhart Tolle presents a deeply insightful and practical guide to awakening, a spiritual evolution from the ego-driven state of separation toward a higher state of being rooted in presence and awareness. This awakening is not just about personal peace. It's about ending the widespread suffering, conflict, and chaos fueled by egoic thinking that permeates societies, relationships, and even our inner lives. Tolle invites us to see that a new earth, one of harmony, compassion, and conscious living, is possible, but it begins with each individual's inner transformation. Eckhart Tolle, a renowned spiritual teacher and author, has helped millions discover a way out of mental turmoil and emotional suffering by exposing the nature of the ego, the false sense of self that most people mistakenly identify as I. The ego isn't your true self. It is a collection of thoughts, beliefs, roles, and attachments to things like your job, possessions, status, or even your ideas about yourself and others. This constructed identity creates an illusion of separation from others, from nature, and even from your own deeper self. This sense of separateness breeds fear, jealousy, competition, and conflict. Tolle's message is simple yet revolutionary. Freedom from suffering begins with recognizing the ego's tricks and stepping beyond them. The pain body and unconsciousness. Most of us go through life in a state of unconsciousness, unaware of the forces that control our emotions and reactions. Tolle introduces the concept of the pain body, an accumulation of old emotional pain, trauma, and negativity stored within us. The pain body can hijack our thoughts and behavior, causing us to react habitually with anger, sadness, or anxiety, often without fully understanding why. It thrives on negativity and feeds on the energy of suffering. Becoming aware of the pain body as it arises, recognizing its patterns and triggers, is the first step to disempowering it. This awareness creates distance, allowing us to respond consciously rather than react unconsciously, leading us out of the cycle of pain. Awareness and presence. The heart of Tolle's teaching is the practice of presence, the state of conscious awareness rooted in the present moment. When you begin observing your thoughts and feelings without judgment or identification, you create a space between your true self and the mind's endless chatter. This space is where presence lives. Rather than being swept away by worries about the past or future, presence anchors you in the now, where life truly unfolds. It is here that you experience a deeper sense of peace and freedom, because you no longer let the ego control your reality. Presence isn't just a mental state. It's a way of being that permeates your actions, relationships, and entire outlook on life. A new earth, personal and collective awakening. Awakening to presence is not only a personal journey, but a collective evolutionary leap. Tolle envisions a new earth emerging as more individuals wake up from egoic consciousness and embody awareness. This shift raises the collective vibration of humanity, fostering a culture of peace, empathy, and cooperation. The new earth is not a utopian fantasy, but a practical transformation starting within each person. As more people let go of egoic attachments and judgments, we create ripples of change that can heal societies and restore harmony between humans and the environment. Ego's attachment to form. One of the ego's most persistent tricks is attachment to form, that is, the physical body, possessions, social status, opinions, and identities. The ego convinces us that these forms define who we are, but all forms are temporary and subject to change. Our appearance fades, jobs change, and opinions evolve. When we realize that true identity lies beyond these transient forms, in the essence of being itself, we can loosen the grip of the ego. This realization frees us from constantly seeking validation or fearing loss, because we understand that our true self is not something you can possess or lose. Suffering and acceptance. Much of human suffering arises from resisting the present moment. We fight reality by wishing things were different, dwelling on regrets, or fearing the future. Tolle teaches that true peace comes through radical acceptance, saying yes to what is without mental or emotional resistance. Acceptance doesn't mean passivity or resignation. Instead, it means fully embracing reality, even its painful aspects, while responding consciously and effectively. This shift changes our relationship with suffering. Instead of battling it, we allow it to be, which paradoxically dissolves much of its power over us. Disidentifying from the ego. Breaking free from the ego requires practice and intention. Tolle suggests tools like meditation, conscious breathing, and mindful attention to interrupt the automatic thought patterns that keep us trapped. By observing the mind without judgment, we cultivate silence and stillness, the fertile ground for awakening. These moments of inner quiet help us disidentify from the ego's incessant demands and reveal the timeless awareness that lies beneath. Over time, this practice transforms our daily experience from ego-driven reactions to conscious, peaceful presence. Relationships as a mirror. Our relationships often act as powerful mirrors, reflecting back to us the patterns and habits of the ego that we might not otherwise see. When conflict arises, it usually isn't just about the other person. It's about the egoic needs and expectations we project onto them. The ego craves control, validation, and reassurance, and when these needs aren't met, friction occurs. However, when we bring conscious presence into our relationships, when we observe ourselves and others without judgment or attachment, these interactions transform. They become opportunities for genuine growth, healing, and deeper connection. Instead of reacting defensively, we begin to listen and respond from a place of awareness. This shift allows relationships to become a sacred space where ego patterns dissolve and authentic love and understanding flourish. The difference between doing and being. Our culture often glorifies doing, constant activity, achievement, striving for success. We are conditioned to believe that worth comes from what we accomplish. But Tolle invites us to rediscover the power of being, a state of inner stillness and presence beneath all activity. Being is about grounding ourselves in the now, beyond thoughts and external accomplishments. From this centered state, our actions naturally become more aligned, purposeful, and effective. When we act from being rather than doing out of ego-driven stress or distraction, creativity flows effortlessly, relationships deepen, and challenges become easier to navigate. Cultivating being doesn't mean stopping action. It means infusing every moment with conscious presence, spiritual bypassing, and true awakening. One common pitfall on the spiritual path is what's called spiritual bypassing, using spiritual ideas or practices to avoid facing real-life difficulties, emotional pain, or uncomfortable truths. Instead of fully engaging with life's challenges, some try to escape them through denial, excessive positivity, or detachment. Tolle warns that true awakening isn't about escaping or avoiding pain. It requires embracing life fully, including its hardships, but doing so from a place of conscious presence rather than resistance or denial. When we face pain with awareness, it loses much of its power over us, and healing begins. This honest engagement is the essence of spiritual growth and liberation. The grand shift in consciousness. A new earth calls for a grand shift, an awakening from the unconscious, ego-driven way of living into a new consciousness rooted in presence, compassion, and authenticity. This transformation isn't just an individual pursuit. It's necessary for the survival and healing of our planet and human society. As more people awaken, the collective consciousness will rise, fostering peace, sustainable living, and harmonious relationships among all beings. The new earth isn't a distant dream, it's a living possibility emerging now, born from the inner shifts happening in millions of hearts and minds. It's an invitation to live consciously, and co-create a world where suffering is minimized and joy, connection, and peace flourish. Let's recap the core teachings from A New Earth. The ego is the root cause of much suffering, conflict, and disconnection. The path to freedom is presence, the ability to observe thoughts and feelings without identifying with them. Acceptance of the present moment dissolves resistance and pain, opening the door to peace. Our true identity lies beyond physical form, roles, and possessions. It is the essence of being itself. Collective awakening through individual transformation can heal humanity and the planet. If you ever feel overwhelmed by the incessant noise of your mind or the turmoil in the world, A New Earth offers a clear, accessible path to transformation. Awakening isn't some distant goal. It's possible in this very moment simply by becoming present. When you shift your consciousness, everything changes. The way you relate to yourself, others, and life itself. This book is a profound invitation to step into that new way of being. If this summary resonated with you, I encourage you to read the full book to explore these teachings in greater depth. And if you want more inspiring, life-changing insights, be sure to subscribe to our channel. Because true change begins within, and A New Earth starts with awakened minds.